Have you ever found yourself just kind of lost in that digital haze? Endless scrolling, the constant ping of notifications, and then suddenly you look up and realize an hour, maybe two, has just vanished. You started the day thinking, okay, I'm going to tackle that really important task, but well, your brain just kept pulling you towards the next quick hit, right? Leaving you feeling scattered, maybe a bit unfocused. If that sounds familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really powerful concept called the dopamine detox. It's basically an approach designed to help us cut through all that digital noise and sort of reclaim our focus and discipline, which, let's face it, is hard in this incredibly overstimulated world we've built. Our main source for this is going to be some really insightful excerpts from Dr. Thibaut Meurisse's book, Dopamine Detox, a short guide to remove distractions and get your brain to do hard things. So our mission today, it's really to unpack how our brain's own reward system, which is supposed to help us, right? How it can actually become this subtle trap. And crucially, how intentionally stepping away from those high stimulation activities can literally reset our ability to not just tolerate, but actually, enjoy and even excel at the more meaningful, harder stuff. This isn't really about deprivation. It's more about recalibration. Okay, so let's unpack this. Before we even talk about detoxing anything, we really need to understand the star of the show here. Dopamine. We hear it called the pleasure chemical all the time, but what exactly is it? This neurotransmitter, why is it so central to, well, pretty much everything we do, our habits, our choices?
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating about dopamine, right, is that it's way more than just a simple pleasure chemical. It's a
Mm-hmm.
crucial neurotransmitter, sure, but it's primarily about motivation. It drives us toward rewards and, yes, the feeling of pleasure itself. But here's the kicker. Studies show it often spikes before you even get the reward. It's the anticipation.
Ah, okay.
It's that internal push, that compulsion towards things that feel like they'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Think that urge to scroll Instagram or the sudden craving for sugar or, wanting to binge watch that show. It's the seeking part.
The seeking.
Interesting.
But the problem, and this is where our modern challenge really lies, is this evolutionary mismatch. I mean, our brains evolved in a much simpler world where instant rewards were pretty rare and usually vital, finding food, water, that kind of thing.
Right, survival stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now we're living in this world of just constant overstimulation. Endless entertainment streaming, fast food everywhere, 247 news alerts, social media pings, video games engineered to hook you, junk food designed for maximum pleasure.
Wow, yeah, it's a flood. It is. It completely floods our brain's reward system, basically keeping it always on high alert, always expecting the next hit.
It really is a perfect storm, isn't it? Our ancient wiring meeting this just overwhelming modern environment. So if our brains are basically overfed with these easy hits, Dr. Meurisse talks about this creating dopamine addiction loops. Could you maybe walk us through a clear, everyday example of how that plays out, making us choose the easy thing over the important one?
Absolutely. And the source material gives a perfect, probably too relatable example. Let's say you sit down, fully intending to write that important report, right?
Yeah.
For work or school.
Yeah, been there.
But instead of actually digging into the complex task, your brain keeps nagging you, pulling you towards refreshing YouTube or scrolling TikTok or whatever your go-to is. Because that small, immediate hit of dopamine from something new and easy feels so much better, so much more instantly satisfying than the sustained effort the report needs.
The path of least resistance.
Exactly. Your brain literally starts rewiring its reward circuits. It creates this ingrained pattern that prioritizes immediate low-effort gratification over the harder but ultimately more fulfilling path.
Okay, our brains are definitely wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That makes sense. And short term, those quick hits do feel good. But some might say, isn't a little instant gratification okay? Maybe even necessary for mental breaks? How do we find that balance, without feeling like we're just denying ourselves all simple joys?
That's a really crucial point, and it highlights an important distinction. While instant gratification of that easy pleasure right now, it is satisfying in the short term, no doubt. But it becomes really damaging long term when it's your default setting. It basically trains your brain to expect immediate rewards for hardly any effort. And that makes anything requiring patience or sustained effort or delayed payoff feel incredibly unpleasant, almost painful by comparison.
Okay.
So it's not about eliminating all pleasure, but understanding the cost of constant, super easy pleasure. And if you look at the bigger picture, this is the complete opposite of delayed gratification, which, let's be honest, is the foundation of almost all meaningful success, right?
Right, yeah, sticking with things.
Exactly. That ability to resist the easy, immediate reward to get something bigger later. The more you feed those instant distractions, the harder it becomes for your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain doing the heavy lifting for focus and planning to actually sustain concentration on what the book calls deep work.
Deep work, like studying or big projects.
Yeah, exactly. Studying for an exam, working on complex strategy, committing to exercise, building long-term goals, all that stuff gets harder.
Can you give us another common, maybe sneakier scenario where this instant gratification just kills our focus, sometimes without us even noticing it's happening?
Oh, definitely. Think about the habit most of us have. Checking your phone every 5 minutes, or maybe even more often.
Guilty.
Right. Whether it's for messages, social media, even just the time. That constant little ping, that glance, that micro hit of novelty. It makes a solid 2-hour deep work session, or even just reading a book for an hour, virtually impossible.
Mhm.
Your brain actually rewires itself. Its neural pathways get conditioned to constantly seek interruption, seeking that next tiny hit. It's kind of like trying to run a marathon, but stopping every few minutes for a tiny sip of soda. Feels good for a second, but totally wrecks your overall progress.
It's almost funny when you put it like that. We get this amazing tool, the smartphone, meant to help us, and we end up using it to sabotage our own focus. So if we're stuck in these cycles, how do we actually break free? The name itself, dopamine detox, sounds pretty intense. Doesn't mean getting rid of dopamine entirely because that sounds, well, impossible and maybe not much fun.
Yeah, that's a super important clarification, and it's a really common misunderstanding. A dopamine detox is absolutely not about eliminating dopamine. Like you said, that's impossible. And undesirable too, dopamine's vital for movement, learning, motivation.
Okay, good. Phew.
What it really means is taking a deliberate, conscious break from the high stimulation, often addictive activities.
Mm.
Dr. Meurisse points specifically to things like, excessive Netflix binges, constant junk food, compulsive gaming, endless social media scrolling, all of those easily accessible, super stimulating sources.
Got it.
The goal is this. When you start bombarding your brain with these constant, intense hits, you give its reward system a chance to reset, to kind of resensitize. You start regaining sensitivity to more natural, subtle rewards. And that makes simple, meaningful tasks, like reading a physical book, working on a challenging project, going for a walk in nature, even meditating feel enjoyable again.
I see. It's lowering the baseline stimulation level.
Precisely, not getting rid of the chemical itself.
That shift, finding joy in the simpler things again, that sounds like the real goal here. So for someone listening right now thinking, yeah, I really need that reset, what are the actual steps? Does the book give a clear framework for how to do a detox?
It does, yeah. And it's surprisingly straightforward and practical. The book lays out a 4-step framework. First step, identify your addictive behaviors. And you got to be really honest with yourself here.
Okay. Brutal honesty time.
Yeah. Is it scrolling TikTok for hours? Losing evenings to video games? Reaching for junk food whenever you're stressed or bored? Binge watching shows late into the night? You need to pinpoint those specific things that hijack your time and attention.
Right. Name the enemy.
Step 2. Choose a detox duration. You've got options, depending on your goal and how deep a reset you feel you need. A 24-hour detox can be great for a quick reset, just to see how it feels and build some confidence. 3 days gives your brain a bit more time, kind of a medium reset. And then 7 days or more, that's for a deeper, more profound reset that can really start to recalibrate things.
Okay. Different levels. Makes sense.
Third step, and this is absolutely key, replace those high dopamine activities with low dopamine ones. This isn't about, sitting in silence doing literally nothing for hours unless you want to. Instead of your usual digital distractions, you engage in activities that offer more natural, subtle rewards. Things like reading a physical book, journaling, meditation, exercise, walking in nature, maybe some creative stuff, or, even just doing nothing and letting your mind wander.
So swapping behaviors.
Exactly. And finally, step 4, reflect. During the detox, and especially afterwards, pay attention to what you notice inside yourself. You'll likely see cravings reduce. You might start building a tolerance for boredom, which is huge. And you should begin to actually enjoy focusing again. It's about noticing those subtle internal shifts.
That idea of doing nothing or just being bored, it can feel incredibly uncomfortable, can it? In our world where we're always on, we fill every gap. But the book suggests boredom isn't actually the enemy here, that it's maybe an ally.
That's exactly right, and it's such a powerful reframe. Boredom, in this context, is actually a really positive sign. It means your brain is actively rewiring itself, adjusting to a lower level of external stimulation. It's not something to run away from, it's something to lean into because it shows deep work is happening internally.
So it's like constructive discomfort.
Kind of, yeah. And what's really cool is that neuroscientists talk about the default mode network in the brain. This gets activated when we're bored, when we're not focused on an external task. This network is linked to self-reflection, imagination, connecting ideas, processing experiences. Basically, it's where creativity, problem-solving, and deeper insights often come from.
Wow, okay. So boredom isn't empty, it's actually fertile ground.
Exactly. The detox teaches you to tolerate that silence, that lack of constant input. And that tolerance is a direct path to more creativity, deeper focus, and ultimately better productivity. It's giving your brain space to do something different, something profound.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. Boredom as a feature, not a bug. So after we consciously take this break, go through the reset, maybe lean into that boredom, what are the real tangible benefits? What does this unlock for us day to day?
Well, once your mind is clearer, kind of recalibrated after the detox, you gain the capacity to really practice several key skills much more effectively. Skills crucial for long-term success. First, you can truly engage in deep work. Remember that. That ability to focus intensely, without distraction, on a single challenging task for a good chunk of time.
Right. Quality focus.
That's where the really valuable work gets done, whether it's solving a complex problem, learning a new skill properly, or creating something meaningful. You also get much better at habit stacking. That's a great technique where you attach a new habit you want to build onto an existing one. Makes it easier to stick.
Ah, like meditating for 5 minutes right after brushing your teeth.
Exactly like that. Your less distracted brain finds it easier to follow through on those intentions. And maybe most importantly, you develop significantly stronger self-control. And this isn't just about gritting your teeth and using willpower. After a detox, your dopamine baseline is lower, remember. So the pull towards those instant gratification things is genuinely weaker. It becomes easier to resist urges and choose actions aligned with your real goals.
So less internal struggle.
Precisely. Over time, you effectively shift from that constant instant gratification mode to a more sustainable long-term achievement mode, which is incredibly powerful for growth.
Okay, so putting it all together, what does this mean long term? Is a dopamine detox just a one-off thing, like a crash diet for the brain, or is it more about a fundamental lifestyle shift?
That's a key question. It's definitely not meant as a one-time fix or some magic bullet. A dopamine detox is really best viewed as an introduction to a more conscious lifestyle, a lifestyle of intentionally reducing unnecessary stimulation and creating better balance in your daily life.
So it's ongoing.
Yeah, it's about being intentional, not just for a day or a week, but as a continuous practice. And the book gives some great strategies for integrating this long-term, like using technology and consciously asking yourself, am I using this tool or is it using me?
Good question to ask.
Setting clear personal rules, things like maybe no phone for the first hour of the day, or no screens an hour before bed, limiting junk food to certain times or days, and critically, incorporating regular mini detoxes, maybe a screen-free evening once a week or a social media-free Sunday once a month. These help maintain that reset baseline. It's about building a sustainable system that works for you.
Right, not just a temporary extreme measure. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, that brings us towards the end of our deep dive. Hopefully everyone listening has a much clearer picture now of dopamine's role, that instant gratification trap, and how this detox idea can genuinely help us regain control. Maybe we can quickly summarize the core ideas and steps we covered.
Absolutely. To just quickly recap the 5 key takeaways from Dr. Meurisse's work. 1. Dopamine itself isn't bad, but chronic overstimulation messes things up, leading to distraction and a lack of motivation for anything hard.
Right.
2. Instant gratification, while tempting, traps you in low-value behaviors and prevents deeper engagement. 3. A dopamine detox helps reset your brain's reward system so you can actually find enjoyment in focus, discipline, and meaningful tasks again.
Okay.
4. Boredom is your friend here. It's a sign of rewiring and a space where creativity and patience can grow.
Embrace the boredom. Got it.
And 5. Long-term success isn't about zero pleasure. It's about finding a healthy, intentional balance between pleasure and discipline.
That's a great summary. To really drive it home, maybe revisit that practical example you gave earlier, the YouTube Shorts one. Show how it all fits together.
Yeah, definitely. So imagine you're stuck in that habit, constantly checking YouTube Shorts, right? Every few minutes, phone out, quick scroll, brain gets that instant, easy hit of novelty.
Yep, familiar.
This trains your brain to expect these immediate rewards. It makes something requiring sustained effort, like studying for a tough exam, feel incredibly boring, really unappealing, hard to even start.
The resistance is high.
Exactly.
Huh.
Now, let's say you do a 24-hour detox. No phone, no shorts, none of that high stim stuff. Your brain actually gets a chance to quiet down, reset its baseline. Then the next time you sit down to study, because your dopamine system is recalibrated, it genuinely feels easier to concentrate, to
Mhm.
engage with the material.
Ah, okay.
The internal resistance is noticeably lower. That's the profound shift. It's about making the hard things feel less hard. In short, as the book really powerfully puts it, it teaches you to control your dopamine instead of letting dopamine control you.
What a fantastic and honestly empowering concept to think about. And, just taking the time to listen to this, to gain knowledge like this through a focused discussion, that itself is a form of delayed gratification, isn't it? Leading to a richer understanding. So, as you go about your day, I want to leave you with a little provocative thought. Building on everything we've discussed today, what if, just for maybe 15 minutes today, you intentionally put away all the distractions and simply engaged with a truly boring task? Maybe doing the dishes really mindfully, or just sitting quietly by a window, observing what's outside without any agenda. What small, unexpected insight or what quiet sense of calm might you discover when you just allow your brain to simply be? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We look forward to exploring more with you next time.